Earth had always been a peaceful planet, far from the battles of the stars. Humans had looked to the sky with curiosity, but never once had they been directly involved in galactic wars. Yet that peace was shattered on a day that would change history forever. It started with a warning, a strange signal intercepted by Earth's defense systems. At first, it was dismissed as a mistake, maybe a glitch in the system. But soon, that signal became clearer, more urgent, and the fears set in. The signal was a distress call, originating from a distant galaxy, from an alien species humanity had never encountered before. The message was clear: we are coming. Then the attack came. It wasn't long before alien ships, massive, dark structures, appeared in Earth's orbit. The skies were filled with a terrifying fleet of ships, unlike anything Earth had ever seen. Their technology was beyond anything humans could imagine, and the power they displayed was overwhelming. They didn't ask for peace. They didn't demand an alliance. They came with one simple goal: to conquer Earth. Earth's governments scrambled. There was panic, confusion, and disbelief. How could this happen? Why now? Humans had never been part of a galactic war. How could they fight back against beings with advanced technologies? But as the world watched in horror, one thing became clear: Earth had no choice. This wasn't a time for fear. It was a time for action. Humanity's response was swift. Military forces from every corner of the world began to mobilize, and Earth's defense systems, once thought to be a mere precaution, began to hum with life. The human military had no time to prepare, but they had something more important: a willingness to fight. Despite the chaos, humanity rallied together, showing a unity they had never known before. At the heart of this response was General Evelyn Carter, a brilliant military leader who had been thrust into the spotlight. She had been in charge of Earth's defense strategy, but even she hadn't prepared for this. Yet, she wasted no time in forming a plan. "We don't back down," she said, her voice steady as she addressed the global leaders. "We fight. We win. We protect Earth." For Carter and the rest of the world, it was no longer about who these aliens were or where they came from. It was about survival. The battle began almost immediately. The alien ships loomed in the sky, and Earth's defenses were set into motion. The alien fleet moved with terrifying precision, but they didn't anticipate the humans' sheer determination. Earth might not have had the same technological advantage, but they had something more powerful: the ability to adapt. As the alien ships began to fire their first volleys of destruction, humans fought back, their ships taking off in formation. Their response was chaotic, unexpected, but filled with a fierce resolve. The aliens thought they could overwhelm Earth with force, but they underestimated humanity's spirit. For the first time in centuries, humans were no longer just observers of the galaxy. They were participants. The battle for Earth had begun, and one thing was certain: humanity wasn't going down without a fight. The first wave of attacks was brutal, but humanity was not backing down. General Evelyn Carter had seen the damage the alien fleet had caused, and she knew that Earth's current defenses wouldn't be enough. The aliens had advanced technology, weapons that could reduce entire cities to ash within moments. But she had a secret weapon. Deep underground, in a highly secured military facility, a team of the brightest minds in Earth's scientific community had been working on something extraordinary for years. It was a weapon like no other. No one outside the project knew about it, not even the world's leaders, until now. Time was running out, and the world's fate rested on this one device. General Carter received the call that would change everything. "The weapon is ready, General," said the voice over the secure line. "We need your approval to deploy." She paused for a moment, letting the weight of the decision settle in. The weapon was powerful, too powerful, in fact. It could end the war in a heartbeat, but its use would come with consequences. Still, there was no time to hesitate. The alien invaders had already breached Earth's defenses. If humanity didn't act now, the planet would fall. "Deploy it," she said firmly. There was no turning back now. The weapon was called the Aegis Protocol. It was an energy-based device, powered by quantum technology, capable of manipulating the very fabric of space-time itself. The scientists had discovered a way to harness and focus vast amounts of energy into a single concentrated blast. In theory, it could obliterate entire fleets in seconds, turning the tide of the war. As the device was activated, Carter could only imagine the shock it would cause. The aliens had no idea what was coming, but the humans did. This weapon would be their last hope. Across the world, military forces were on high alert. Ships, jets, and ground forces were being readied for the next phase of the battle. But it was the Aegis Protocol that would lead the charge. The device was launched from Earth's most secure military base, nestled deep in the mountains, hidden from the enemy's radar. As it ascended into space, there was a moment of eerie silence. Then, a flash of brilliant light. The Aegis Protocol fired its first shot. The alien ships, once so confident in their superior firepower, were now nothing more than targets. The blast of concentrated energy tore through their fleet like a hot knife through butter. The alien warships, massive, invulnerable-looking ships, were reduced to scrap metal in the blink of an eye. The shockwave from the explosion was so powerful that it rattled Earth itself, shaking buildings and causing tremors across the globe. The alien commanders were stunned. They had never seen anything like it before. No army, no technology, had ever come close to challenging their supremacy. And yet, in a matter of seconds, half their fleet was gone. General Carter watched the live feed from the command center. The devastation was unimaginable, but it was effective. The aliens were retreating. Some of their remaining ships tried to regroup, but it was too late. They had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. Carter's heart raced as the truth set in. Humanity had done it. They had turned the tide of war in a matter of hours. But despite the victory, there was no time for celebration. The aliens were not defeated yet. This was only the beginning of a battle that would determine the future of Earth and the galaxy. After the devastating success of the Aegis Protocol, the world was left in a state of shock. For the first time in history, Earth had shown the galaxy that it was not a planet to be underestimated. But the battle was far from over. Humanity had won a victory, yes, but the alien invaders were still very much a threat. General Evelyn Carter knew this war was far from won. What mattered now was what came next. In the war rooms across Earth, military leaders from every nation gathered in intense discussions. There was no longer any question about Earth's ability to defend itself. The alien fleet had been badly damaged, but they had not yet been defeated. Carter had a moment to reflect, but only for a moment. There was no time for anything else. Every second counted. General Carter stood before the large holographic map in the command center. She surveyed the scattered, broken remnants of the alien fleet, which had retreated into the far corners of their sector. The enemy was regrouping, and it wouldn't take long for them to strike again. "We need to hit them now while they're disorganized," Carter said firmly, her voice carrying the weight of 1,000 decisions. "This is our chance. We have to capitalize on it." Around her, the high-ranking officers and strategists were already formulating plans. Carter's command was decisive. Humanity would strike before the enemy had a chance to regroup. Their earlier success had shaken the aliens, but now was the time to take control. No more waiting. No more hesitation. "What about our remaining forces?" one of the commanders asked. "We've lost a lot of ships. Are we ready for a full assault?" Carter nodded, her eyes never leaving the map. "We have enough. The aliens might be more advanced, but we're smarter. We'll use every advantage we have." The human military had a unique strength that the aliens didn't understand. Their ability to think outside the box, to adapt quickly. Unlike the alien armies, which relied on brute force and established tactics, humans could improvise. They could learn from every battle and come up with new ways to fight. For the first time, the military's ground forces were put into action. While the alien fleet had been knocked back, The aliens were still on the ground, attempting to gain control of Earth's resources. General Carter knew that they needed to keep the aliens on the defensive. If they could stop the enemy from advancing on Earth's surface, the aliens would be forced to retreat, and their fleets would be easy to pick off. Human soldiers, armed with their newly advanced weaponry, prepared for battle. They were a mixture of regular soldiers, pilots, and volunteers who had never imagined themselves fighting for their planet's survival. Their determination was unmatched. Earth wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. It was fighting for its place in the galaxy. Hours later, Carter received the confirmation. The battle on the ground was a success. The alien ground forces were retreating, just like their fleets in space. Human troops, guided by the same strategic brilliance they had shown earlier, had disrupted the aliens' operations and forced them into a defensive position. As Carter surveyed the results, she couldn't help but feel a growing sense of confidence. Humanity was more than capable of winning this war. But even as she stood at the helm of Earth's most decisive victory, she knew the real test was still ahead. The alien empire had only begun to realize just how much of a threat humanity was. And now, it was time for them to learn that humans didn't just survive. They dominated. The sun was setting on Earth, but for General Evelyn Carter and her forces, the battle was just heating up. Humanity's first strike had shaken the aliens, but they weren't done yet. The alien fleet, though damaged, still held vast power, and their soldiers were regrouping faster than expected. Carter knew that humanity had just gained a small victory, but it was only the beginning of a larger war. If they wanted to win, they had to take the fight to the aliens, on their own turf. The war was now galactic. Earth's defense systems, though impressive, would not be enough to push the invaders back completely. General Carter made the call for an all-out offensive. Humanity had to strike fast and hard before the alien empire could regroup and retaliate. Across the world, the skies were filled with human warships, sleek, fast, and armed with advanced technology. They moved in perfect formation, ready for battle. The human fleet wasn't as large as the alien one, but they had something the aliens didn't: the element of surprise. They had learned from their earlier encounter and were now a force to be reckoned with. Carter's flagship, the Indomitable, led the charge. The ship was a symbol of humanity's resolve, and its captain, Carter, stood at its helm, focused and determined. As the fleet moved deeper into alien space, the calm before the storm hung thick in the air. Suddenly, the quiet was shattered. The first alien ship came into view, and the battle began. The human fleet wasted no time. The Indomitable and its sister ships opened fire with their advanced energy weapons. The first few alien ships were caught off guard by the sudden onslaught. Their shields, though powerful, couldn't withstand the sheer force of the human weapons. The alien fleet was thrown into disarray, their command structures faltering as their ships were destroyed one by one. "Target their weak points," Carter barked over the intercom, her voice steady but sharp. "Take out their engines and communications first. Leave them with no way to regroup." The humans followed orders with precision. The alien ships, which had once been so confident in their superiority, were now struggling to maintain control. Human warships darted through the battle, dodging enemy fire and retaliating with deadly accuracy. It was as though they had become part of the cosmos itself, fluid, unpredictable, and unstoppable. The alien commanders scrambled to adapt, but they were too slow. The humans had studied their tactics during the first wave of the invasion. They knew exactly where to strike, where the aliens were most vulnerable. While the alien forces tried to regroup, humanity was relentless. The battle was one-sided now, with Earth's fleet pushing deeper into alien-controlled space. On the ground, Earth's forces had made similar progress. The alien soldiers were being pushed back, losing strategic outposts one by one. The humans, driven by the success of their space victory, now fought with even more determination. It wasn't just a battle for survival anymore. It was a battle for their place in the universe. Back in space, General Carter watched as the tide of the war turned in humanity's favor. "We're winning," she whispered to herself. It was hard to believe. In a matter of hours, Earth had gone from being the victim of a surprise invasion to becoming the dominant force in the galaxy. But the aliens were not finished. They would come back, and they would fight harder. Carter knew that this battle was just a stepping stone to something much bigger. But for now, humanity had proven one thing. They were not just going to survive the war. They were going to win it. The moment the Aegis Protocol had fired, everything changed. The galaxy was no longer the same. The human fleet had done what was once thought impossible. They had struck a blow so powerful that it echoed throughout the universe. The alien fleet, once confident in its invincibility, was now in chaos. General Evelyn Carter stood in the command center of the Indomitable, her hands gripping the armrests of her seat. She stared at the holographic display, watching as the alien ships, once formidable, were torn apart by the incredible power of the Aegis Protocol. The blast of energy had ripped through their fleet in a flash, disintegrating their warships like paper caught in a storm. The shockwave from the explosion sent ripples through space, shaking the very foundations of the enemy's forces. In just moments, half the alien fleet was gone. The remaining ships tried to regroup, but it was too late. Their systems were down, and their commanders were in disarray. The alien forces had never faced anything like this. They had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. Carter watched in silence as her orders were carried out. The human fleet didn't stop to celebrate. They pressed on, taking advantage of the enemy's confusion. Human warships, fast and agile, moved in and out of the wreckage, picking off the remaining alien ships with precision. There was no mercy, no hesitation. The humans were determined to end this war before it could escalate further. "Keep the pressure on," Carter ordered, her voice firm. "We can't give them a chance to recover. This is our moment." The humans didn't waste a single second. They attacked with everything they had, targeting the enemy's most critical systems. Alien communications were severed, and their supply lines were cut. With their fleet in shambles and their ground forces pushed back, the aliens were losing control of the situation fast. Across the galaxy, the alien commanders were scrambling to understand what had just happened. They had never experienced such a sudden and overwhelming attack. The human weapon, the Aegis Protocol, had caught them completely off guard. They had expected a slow, drawn-out war, but humanity had forced their hand and made it clear that they would not be easy to defeat. In the chaos, one thing became certain. Humanity was no longer the underdog in this war. They had risen to the challenge, showing the galaxy that they were capable of standing toe-to-toe with the most powerful forces in the universe. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the people watched in awe as the reports of victory flooded in. News broadcasts showed footage of the alien ships exploding in space, and for the first time, there was hope. Humanity had proven that they could fight back. The aliens had underestimated them, and now they were beginning to regret it. But General Carter knew that the war wasn't over. The Aegis Protocol had given them a significant advantage, but the aliens would regroup. They would adapt. This was only the beginning, and humanity's true test was just ahead. Even with their fleet in shambles, the alien empire still had vast resources and powerful forces at their disposal. The next steps in the war would be crucial. But for now, Carter allowed herself a brief moment of triumph. Humanity had made its mark on the galaxy, and no one would ever forget what they had done. The first wave of the human offensive had been a stunning success. The alien fleet was in ruins, and Earth's forces had made significant progress. But even as General Evelyn Carter and her forces celebrated their victory, a darker reality loomed. The aliens, despite their heavy losses, were not defeated. The galaxy was vast, and the alien empire had resources that Earth could only begin to comprehend. Resistance would come, and it would be stronger than before. The remaining alien forces, stunned by the sudden devastation, began to regroup. They had been caught off guard, but now they were adapting. The alien commanders, though shaken, were not willing to accept defeat. They knew their empire's survival depended on one thing: retribution. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning. Back in human command centers, General Carter was already preparing for the next phase of the war. Her strategy had been flawless up until this point, but she knew that the aliens would learn from their mistakes. Earth's victory had been a product of surprise and speed, but now the battle would become a brutal, full-scale war. Humanity had proven they could fight back, but the question now was, could they maintain their advantage? As the alien forces began to rally, new ships, larger, more powerful, began to appear on the edge of human-controlled space. These were not the same vessels that had been destroyed in the initial battle. The aliens had returned stronger, more prepared. Their military leaders were now planning a counterattack, one that would push humanity to the brink. Despite the setback, Earth's military forces were not without hope. The initial surprise had worked, and now the aliens were in disarray. The humans had shown that they could defeat the aliens when they worked together, and that knowledge gave them an edge. But as the alien resistance mounted, General Carter understood that humanity would need to be even more strategic. The next phase of the battle would not rely on the shock of the initial strike. It would require intelligence, determination, and careful planning. "Prepare for another assault," Carter ordered, her voice steady but serious. "We've taken the first step, but the fight is far from over. We need to hit them hard before they can regroup fully. This war will be won by those who can adapt, and we must show them that humanity is not just a force to be reckoned with. We are the future." As Earth's military forces began to regroup, the aliens' new fleet slowly approached. The battle lines were being drawn, and both sides prepared for what was sure to be a fierce clash. For every advantage the humans had gained, the aliens were already plotting their next move, determined to show the galaxy that they could still crush the human threat. On the surface of Earth, the atmosphere was tense. People had seen the first signs of victory, but they knew that this was just the beginning. Families, soldiers, and civilians all braced themselves for the reality that the war was far from over. Earth had become the center of galactic conflict, and the outcome would determine not just their survival, but their future as a species. As the alien fleet closed in, General Carter gathered her leaders once more. "We've shown them our strength," she said, her eyes hard with resolve. "Now we show them what humanity is truly capable of." Across the galaxy, the news of Earth's victory had spread like wildfire. The alien fleet, once thought unbeatable, had been torn apart by a human weapon. The shockwaves of this unexpected turn of events rippled through the galactic empire, leaving its leaders in a state of confusion and fear. The ruling council of the alien empire had been convened, summoned to discuss the grave situation. On a distant planet, a massive council chamber sat at the heart of the alien government, surrounded by towering spires and advanced technology. Here, the galaxy's most powerful beings gathered, each representing a different part of the empire. They had never expected Earth, this insignificant backwater planet, to challenge their might. Yet, here they were, faced with the undeniable truth. Humanity had defeated their most advanced fleet in a matter of hours. "What are we going to do?" one of the high-ranking commanders asked, his voice filled with frustration. "They've destroyed half our fleet, and we haven't even been able to launch a successful counterattack. How could we have underestimated them?" The alien emperor, seated at the center of the council, was a towering figure cloaked in a shimmering metallic armor. His face, partially obscured by a helmet, was a mixture of anger and disbelief. He had never seen such a rapid and brutal response from any species. Humans were supposed to be weak, easily manipulated, yet they had shown the galaxy a different side of themselves. "We will not be defeated by these humans," the emperor declared, his voice cold and filled with authority. "This is an embarrassment, but it is not the end. We have resources, allies, and weapons they cannot even imagine. We will rebuild, regroup, and crush them. But another voice spoke up, softer but more urgent. We must consider the consequences of underestimating them again. If we push too hard, we risk further provoking them. They have proven that they are not just defenders. They are warriors, capable of adapting faster than we ever could. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. And what do you suggest, then? That we leave them to grow stronger and eventually turn the tables on us. That would be a mistake. The room fell silent as the leaders considered their options. In the end, the Emperor's decision was clear. We will prepare for another strike. But this time, we will strike from all sides, and we will not hold back. We will break them before they can fully organize. Earth will bow to us, or we will destroy it entirely. Despite the Emperor's firm words, there was an undercurrent of doubt in the room. The leaders could not ignore the fear that had begun to settle in their hearts. The humans had already proven they could surprise them once. And now, the galaxy watched with bated breath to see if they could do it again. Back on Earth, General Evelyn Carter sat in her command center, watching the live feeds from the galactic battlefield. She knew the aliens would come again, stronger and more determined. But she also knew that humanity had something they didn't: the will to survive and the courage to fight against overwhelming odds. "We've done it once," Carter said to her commanders, her voice unwavering. "And we can do it again. We've shown the galaxy what humanity is capable of, and now it's time to show the aliens that we will not back down." As Earth's military forces prepared for the next wave, a new sense of unity and resolve filled the air. Humanity had earned its place in the galaxy, but the true test was still ahead. Would the aliens be able to crush Earth's spirit, or would humanity once again rise to the challenge? The galaxy was watching, and the fate of Earth hung in the balance. The battle had raged across the galaxy for weeks, but as the final moments of the confrontation approached, something extraordinary was unfolding. The humans, who had once been the underdogs, had now forced the alien empire into a corner. Earth's military had held its ground, shown unprecedented strength, and proven that humanity was more than just a vulnerable planet. Now, the fate of the galaxy rested on a final decision: the alien empire's response to humanity's defiance. General Evelyn Carter stood before the vast display screens in the command center of the Indomitable, her fingers hovering over the console. Her eyes were fixed on the live data showing the alien fleet moving into position, readying for one final strike. There was no turning back now. The aliens had prepared for a full-scale retaliation, bringing their most powerful ships and weapons into play. But Carter was ready. "Prepare for the final assault," she commanded. Her voice was steady, calm even, despite the high stakes. "We've come this far, and we're not going to let them win. Not now, not ever." Around her, the room was buzzing with activity. The human fleet, though smaller than the alien forces, was fully prepared. They had the element of surprise on their side once again. But this time, the fight would be harder. The humans knew the aliens wouldn't make the same mistakes as before. But humanity's advantage had never been in size or strength. It had always been in their adaptability, their resilience, and their ability to think outside the box. As the alien fleet closed in, a message came through from the alien emperor himself. His voice, cold and commanding, echoed through the command center. "Humanity has had its fun, but this ends now. Your planet will bow to the Empire, or it will be destroyed. You have no other choice." General Carter listened, but her resolve did not falter. "We've already made our choice," she said softly to herself. The moment the alien fleet arrived in human-controlled space, the battle began. But this time, it was different. The aliens had come with overwhelming force, expecting to crush the human resistance. But what they didn't anticipate was the unexpected tactics and strategies that humanity had developed during the war. As the battle raged, human warships darted through the alien lines, targeting weak points with precision. The aliens fought back fiercely, but the humans were relentless. Earth's fleet hit the aliens where it hurt most: their supply lines, their communication systems, and their leadership. The alien ships, large and menacing, began to fall one by one. The sheer speed of the human attacks left the aliens scrambling. They had been too confident, and now they were paying for it. With each passing moment, the tide of the battle shifted. The alien fleet, once thought to be unstoppable, was beginning to crumble. The human forces, guided by Carter's brilliance, exploited every opportunity. There was no mercy. There was no hesitation. Humanity's message was clear. Earth would not fall. As the last of the alien ships was destroyed, the galaxy fell silent. The aliens, for the first time, were forced to retreat. General Carter watched as the last remnants of the alien fleet turned and fled, their retreat a sign of their defeat. Humanity had won. Back on Earth, the world erupted in celebration. People cheered, tears of relief streaming down their faces. They had been pushed to the brink, but they had overcome. Earth had proven itself, not just as a survivor, but as a force that could no longer be ignored. In the aftermath, the alien empire, now humbled, had no choice but to recognize humanity's strength. The once dominant empire had been forced to retreat, and Earth stood tall as a new power in the galaxy. The balance of the universe had shifted, and though peace was not yet assured, humanity had earned its place among the stars. As General Carter looked out over the Earth from the command center, she knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and humanity's future was still unwritten. But one thing was certain: no one would ever underestimate Earth again. The war was over. The alien empire, once the most powerful in the galaxy, had been defeated. Their fleet had been shattered, their forces scattered, and their plans to conquer Earth crushed in a matter of hours. But while the battle had been won, the aftermath was just beginning. Humanity now faced a new world, one where they were no longer just a small, isolated planet. They had earned their place in the galaxy, but the true cost of victory was still to be understood. General Evelyn Carter sat in the command center of the Indomitable, the flagship that had led the human forces to victory. The glow of the holographic displays flickered around her, casting shadows on her face. She had been the architect of Earth's defense, and now she was the face of its triumph. But the weight of the victory pressed heavily on her shoulders. She knew that this new era would not come without challenges. "We've done it," Commander Lucas said, standing beside her. "We've won." Carter nodded, but her expression remained serious. "This war has changed everything. But now we need to rebuild. We need to make sure we're ready for whatever comes next." The people of Earth were celebrating. Across the planet, nations were lifting their heads high, united by the victory. News broadcasts showed celebrations in every major city. People danced in the streets, waving flags and chanting humanity's triumph. The world had come together like never before, and for the first time in history, Earth was not just a small, insignificant speck in the universe. It was a power to be reckoned with. But for General Carter and the leaders of Earth's military, the work was far from over. The aliens had been pushed back, but their empire was vast, and there were still factions out there who might try to reclaim what they had lost. The victory over the alien fleet was monumental, but Carter knew that the war was not just about fighting. It was about establishing a new order in the galaxy. Humanity had to be prepared for what was to come. It was not enough to just defend Earth. Humanity needed to show the galaxy that they were capable of being a force for peace and stability, not just a species that fought for survival. "We can't let our guard down," Carter said, turning to her officers. "We've proven ourselves, but there are other empires out there. We need to ensure that Earth remains safe, that we stay in control of our future. We will need alliances, diplomacy, and most importantly, we need to show that humanity is not just about strength, we're about unity." Her words echoed through the command center. The galaxy was vast, and Earth had made a bold statement. But now, it was time to turn the page. Humanity had won the war, but the true battle for their place in the stars had only just begun. As the days passed, discussions began about Earth's future role in the galaxy. Diplomatic talks with other alien species, many of whom had witnessed humanity's strength, were already underway. Some were eager to form alliances, recognizing Earth's power and resilience. Others were more hesitant, unsure of what this new human power would mean for the balance of the galaxy. Back on Earth, General Carter stood at the window of the command center, looking out at the planet below. She could see the celebration still ongoing, but she knew the road ahead would not be easy. There were new challenges to face, new decisions to make, and new dangers to prepare for. But for the first time in history, humanity had the chance to shape its own future, and that future was filled with endless possibilities. The war had ended, but the work was far from over. Earth had fought back, defeated the invaders, and established its place in the galaxy. But now, humanity had to face a new reality. They were no longer just a small, isolated planet. They had become a power to be reckoned with, and with that power came new responsibilities. General Evelyn Carter stood at the front of Earth's United Command Center, overseeing the rebuilding efforts. The command center had once been a place of crisis, filled with panic and uncertainty. Now, it was a symbol of hope, where humans from all over the world worked together to chart the future. Carter could see the changes that had taken place in just a few short months. Earth's cities were being rebuilt, its military strengthened, and its place in the galaxy secured. But the scars of the war were still there, and the challenges ahead would test humanity's resolve. We've proven ourselves, but we cannot forget what it took to get here, Carter said as she addressed the group of leaders and military officers. We cannot let the galaxy think of us as just another empire, one that seeks power for the sake of power. We must be better. We must show that we are here not just to survive, but to thrive alongside others. Her words resonated with the people in the room. After the war, humanity's strength was undeniable, but Carter knew that their true test was yet to come. Earth had won the battle, but the real challenge was in creating lasting peace and unity among the stars. Earth was now engaging in diplomatic talks with alien races. Some species, awed by humanity's strength, were eager to form alliances. Others, however, were still wary, unsure if humans would become the same kind of conquerors they had just defeated. General Carter had made it clear to the world that humanity's role in the galaxy would not be defined by war. Earth's future would be built on mutual respect and cooperation, not dominance. We must earn the trust of the galaxy, Carter continued, her voice steady. We can be a beacon of peace, but that means reaching out, building relationships, and showing the other species that we are here for the good of the galaxy, not just ourselves. Over the next few months, Earth sent ambassadors to various alien governments. The first meeting with the Ashtari, a peaceful race of thinkers, was a pivotal moment. The Ashtari had watched Earth's rise with caution, but also curiosity. They were intrigued by humanity's ability to adapt, to fight, and to rebuild so quickly. Slowly, trust began to form between the two species, and other alien races followed suit. Humanity's new standing in the galaxy didn't come without challenges. Some species remained suspicious, hesitant to form alliances, but Earth's leaders knew that time would prove their intentions. It wasn't just about power, it was about finding a place in a galaxy full of different species, each with its own way of life. Back on Earth, life began to return to normal. People who had once been divided by borders and conflicts now worked together, united by the shared experience of survival. Earth was stronger than ever, not just in its military might, but in its unity. General Carter looked out across the bustling city from her office window. The sky was clear, and in the distance, the towering structures of Earth's new cities gleamed in the sunlight. She had led humanity through the greatest challenge they had ever faced, and now she watched as the next chapter of Earth's story began. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's strength. Now, it would witness its heart.